Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to rock. Let's do this. Good evening. This is our Monday night Tropics talk. We're going to talk all things tropic. We're going to talk to the community a little bit, and we're also going to discuss what the future of not only North America, but the tropical Atlantic looks like. We have a lot going on out there still, even though we're getting closer and closer to the eventual drop-off of hurricane season as we get closer to November. We'll let a few more folks join us this evening. I'm not too sure we're going to have as much of a turnout as we did over the weekend. Not nearly as much pressing to talk about out there right now. It looks like our Lesser Antilles have finally seen the end entirely of Hurricane Tammy. All that convection along her south side is finally washed out. Even all of our northernmost locations, Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's, it looks like Bermuda is completely out of the realm. St. Kitts and Nevis. Yeah, I'm looking at the satellite British U.S. Virgin Islands. We're seeing some activity earlier today, and it looks like that's also pulling to the north. So, yeah, it looks like the Caribbean islands can put Tammy behind them once and for all. And you know what, guys? I've been seeing the chat, or I should say I noticed the chat as I was logging in, and we're about to see a huge shift in a lot of our model guidance. We're about to see a huge shift, that's for sure. I'm already noticing it on some of our 18Z model data. 12 Zulu still suggests what we've been looking at the last few days, but 18Z all of a sudden, even though we don't have any fresh analysis data in, 18Z is starting to show that this thing is going to start going back to the north and then eventually the north-northeast. At least that's what it looks like. Some of our models are thinking that this embedded feature right in through here, the low pressure up in here, and then this weak vortice that's moving over the Great Lakes is going to open up this big old high pressure that's trying to spill across the Atlantic that was supposed to sandwich her and stop her in its tracks. But it looks like the ridging with this upper subtropical jet, this mid-amplitude ridge coming up over Central America, the Gulf of Mexico, is also going to create a little bit of an opening for her to try to escape to the north. At least that's what I'm thinking. I'm definitely thinking that we're probably not going to see her come towards Florida. Some of our ensembles are still thinking it, but I'm looking at 18 Zulu data and I'm digesting the pattern, and it's, in my personal opinion, it's making a little bit more sense that we're going to see it hook to the left ever so slightly and then whip it back out to sea. It's going to kind of tease us. I got lucky with the sunset, saw it was turning pink outside and had to go get pics. Also, what's up? Beautifully aged, welcome in. A good evening from Antigua. Weather was overcast all day with scattered showers. Janice, welcome in. Good to see you in here, darling. Yeah, I was just talking about that area too, beautifully aged. It looks like you guys are finally seeing the very tail end of that shower activity, and hopefully by tomorrow you guys will be good to roll for the rest of the week. Matthew F-150, hey guys, what's up? Family issues, hope everyone is good. I hope you're good, Matthew F-150, if that's the case. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. I hope all is well with you guys. Mike Murad, hey buddy, excited to learn more tonight. You the man. Mike, thank you very much. Dark Earth, thank you for joining us. Carmen, good to see you, as well as Miss Leah. Thank you very much, folks. We'll give it a few more moments and let people jump in. Punky the Mixed Dog, there we go. We have someone else joining us. But yeah, so I'm going to start off by saying two things. Number one, Tammy is looking like she's going to turn the cheek on us. The last 48 hours have looked very interesting with this sudden jog to the west. Unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, it just, I will say unfortunately, because it makes us look silly at the end of the day when the model's wishy-wash like this. It definitely tries my patience when I try to do the best that I can to give out long-range forecasts, and then they go back and forth so dramatically. But you know what? That's the name of the game, and I'm not going to stop it either. Even if these models make me look goofy sometimes, you know what? That's what weather forecasting is all about. If we can only advertise what's happening right then and there, then what's the point of even jumping on here then? Because at that point, everybody else can just read for their own selves. I know I'm late. I don't know if you guys noticed. I'm using my Friday the 13th glass tonight, or not glass, but cup tonight. Definitely behind the curve. That's how fast October has been going. Completely missed this opportunity to drink out of this. Ethan's life, I can imagine so. Diva Jefferson, welcome in. Zenful, hello there. Puerto Rico had the most perfect weather last week. Very grateful. Oh, yeah, definitely. You guys missed out on Hurricane Tammy entirely. And it's crazy that they were forecasting 6 to 8 inches upwards of in Puerto Rico and in the Virgin Islands. And I definitely, unless we have, I want to see if we get some folks in there from out there, because I don't think we had that much rain accumulation. Maybe approaching 6 inches in some of our leeward islands that were underneath all that tail end convection you could see at the very beginning of the satellite loop here, but I definitely think that was a false alarm from National Hurricane Center's part, going as far as 12 inches of rain in certain areas. I mean, she was slow moving, and we had some thunderstorms stationary overhead for a while, but, you know. Beautifully aged. Wow, that's a shame. I don't think Barbudians have communication connections. That makes sense. It also makes sense as to why we haven't seen very much footage coming out of there yet. Usually by now, other channels or other social media platforms are mentioning, I've been seeing this, and we're looking at this now, and oh my goodness, and yeah, I haven't really seen too much come out of there just yet. Lord willing that gets cleared out soon, and they can really get the recovery process in full swing. Robert, the tracks of all the storms this year have been very... they really have. Usually early on is when it's the worst. It's never towards the very back end of a storm's life cycle where it's this wishy-washy. You'd think that while Tammy was still an invest area out in the tropical Atlantic, we would have been struggling up until now. By now, it would have been like, yeah, we know exactly what's happening. We have a good handle on it. Things aren't really changing. But we went from this to this to this to this to this to this to that, and then back to this. Come on. What are you guys doing out there? And I really hope that people learn a valuable lesson from this storm as well, because I can openly say that, number one, the GFS was very out to lunch on this thing. The GFS was calling the wrong shots the entire time it was out there in the main development region. Every single day, and I think it was at least 4 to 5, maybe even almost 6 days, the GFS was completely lopsided, completely inaccurate. Can't argue with that. Like 150% inaccurate in its depiction of what Tammy was going to do. Even the Euro was. I'm going to say it. The Euro was second up to that. The Euro didn't know what it wanted to do with it. The Euro was definitely right there with the GFS and struggling with it, especially when it put all of us on blast and went from absolutely nothing to Cat 4, just about Cat 5 hitting Puerto Rico. And even now, the Euro is still struggling with it. So, it goes to show you can never put your eggs all in one basket. You can't. With weather, and everything's left to chance. It ain't facts until it happens. Janice, exactly. Basically, anything can happen. Because, tonight we are seeing some trends that suggest it's going to go out to sea. All of our high-res hurricane models are back in business in terms of showing very good consistency that she's going to ride this frontal line out to sea like so. But a couple of the other models still wanted to try to track towards Florida. The Euro 12 Zulu still has it trying to come close and then boomeranging back. The UK model is one of the ones that changed up on us. The UK model had it very consistently tracking up like so, and now even the UK model has it going closer to the going closer to the Bahamas and then going back across towards Bermuda-ish. So I would definitely say earlier this morning when we first woke up, we had about a 70% chance, no, we'll say about a 65% chance it was going to come our way, whether it be as a remnant post-tropical low or maybe something organized that could give us some winds and rain for Halloween. Now I'm going to be as boisterous to say that we're down to like a 10-15% chance this thing's coming our way. Let's put it that way. I think Bahamas, Southeast United States, especially Florida, can definitely pump the brakes in terms of watching it closely. Bermuda is still definitely under the gun because you can see it's still sneaking up into their general neck of the woods, but, even Bermuda, not so much. And I have a bone to pick with this random tropical depression that decided to form up out there. It's been causing a lot of jazz, a lot of news all over YouTube and social media. Everyone's been flipping out about it. Rapid development. It's going to develop fast. And it's like, well, first of all, if it developed fast, it would have been there one day, and the next thing you know, we had Tropical Storm Vince the next day. It really didn't develop that fast. If you go way back in time, we had thunderstorm activity for quite a while, at least for the last 5 to 6 days. National Hurricane Center highlighted it at the end of last week, and just now we have a tropical depression that's only going to stop by for a spot of tea, a cup of coffee, and bounce. And I understand that it's creating bad conditions for Nicaragua and Honduras, but, all things considered, they've been getting the hammer brought down on them by the Central American gyre and all that activity coming out of the East Pacific. So to tell you the truth, I'm almost positive that the Nicaraguans down there are kind of like, oh, more rain at this point? How much more is there going to be? But, it creates a talking point. It creates a talking point, and it created a talking point for my video today because I'm not really focused on the fact that we have a storm out there. My thing is, with as quick as that formed up, despite El Nino, that thing did manage to organize and develop a center of circulation fairly quickly. Like, we had the thunderstorms down there, we had the consolidation happening at a modest pace, but we did incrementally see increases in probability for development at a steady pace, a lot more than we saw with Philippe, with Rena, with Tammy, all that stuff. So my big thing is it didn't rapidly develop. It didn't just come out of nowhere. We knew it was down there, but the fact that we're still getting storms to organize at a click that this one did says we got to watch the Caribbean closely because it's definitely primed for tropical development, more so than the MDR, more so than the Western Atlantic, more so than the Gulf of Mexico. This whole area clearly can very easily support tropical cyclone or tropical cyclogenesis, and that's the main reason I wanted to talk about it today in my video. Not necessarily to, dare I say it, hype up what's happening. I mean, it's a tropical depression. I'm sure they get thunderstorms down there that are far worse than a tropical depression, and I'm not dispelling it whatsoever. I'm not trying to take away from it. It is still an organized system. It's been dumping copious amounts of rains down there, but at the end of the day, that's all it is a rainmaker. And they've been getting brutalized by thunderstorm after thunderstorm down there, especially closer to Mexico, parts of Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, into, where else? I'm trying to think. I know Guatemala has been getting it really bad. Honduras has definitely gotten it really bad. Panama. I mean, honestly, all of them down there. You can see in Colombia, even into South America, they've just been having continuous thunderstorm run after run after run after run for almost over a month now. That Central American gyre and the East Pac has been super duper off the chain with all sorts of thunderstorms and flood conditions. In Mexico, that they've been having flooding conditions far to the south of where Norma and what's her name? I'm drawing a blank. What was the name of the hurricane? Lydia. Far to the south of where Lydia and Norma came in. The hive. Lightweight, baby. Yep. Got to read that in, what's his name? Ronnie Coleman's voice. So my main point with that tropical depression is the fact that the Caribbean is still ready to rock and roll. You get a little bit of vorticity down there, you get a tropical wave, and it's going to form up. It's definitely going to form up. It won't take much. And that's kind of what I want to focus on tonight. We still have that tropical wave trying to reorganize itself over that 50-degree longitude line out there to the right side of Tammy. But one thing I'm starting to notice is there's a lot of agreement in our models that there's going to be a secondary spin that forms somewhere in the southern Caribbean and tries to move north, like just due north, towards Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. It's still entirely up in the air if it's going to head northwest or if it's just going to track straight up and pull a Franklin and head out to sea. So we'll see. That's the big thing. Is Halloween on Monday or a Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday, unfortunately. A very weird day this year. So all the Liddy parties are going to happen the weekend prior, probably. I don't know about you guys, but I've never been much for like a Halloween party type of event. I would much rather do spooky stuff. I'd much rather do something very casual, very low-key, go out and scare some people, walk around, sightsee, take in the costumes, maybe hit a convention or a scary movie or a theme park, but... I've never been one for Halloween parties. I just feel like it takes away from the Halloween spirit. That's just me. I mean, to each their own. The fact that you just got that will make me a lifelong lover of this channel, The Hive. Of course. Of course. That's what I'm looking at. Tropical Depression 21 and thinking, lightweight, baby. Yeah. Nothing but a peanut. Everybody want to be a bodybuilder, but ain't nobody want to lift some heavy weight. See, I didn't cuss. We're doing good. Hit the like button, people. Beautifully aged. Thank you very much. Yes, please, guys. So, yeah, I mean, we'll go through some models, and we'll take a look. I'm going to Home Depot on Halloween. There you go. Super Charas. That's living the dream right there. Couldn't ask for a better place to be on Halloween night. I'm just kidding. By the way, I'm thinking tomorrow I'm going to put out another little Halloween short on the channel just for fun. Entirely not weather-related. Just the fact that, honestly, I feel like I just put out that first Halloween short last week, and now we're already a week out from the official Halloween. Which also off topic, since we're talking Halloween, who here is pumped for the Five Nights at Freddy's film coming out this Thursday? I'm excited. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to stream it at home, but I'm pretty excited for it. I saw the new Saw film not too long ago as another little bit of Halloween spookiness, and the Saw film was pretty good, so I'm hoping that Five Nights at Freddy's can just keep that train rolling of decent Halloween films. But while you guys mention that in the chat, this is what we're going to look at first. We're going to look at the UK model for 12 Zulu. If you look at Tammy, there she is. The UK model is expecting her to deepen a little bit before making a run for Bermuda. But then you can see even the UK model has deviated tremendously. If you go back to 0Z, night and day difference. Big night and day difference. You go forward in time on 0Z and then take a look at how that thing just runs straight for Florida. Big time, straight for Florida. And then you look at 12 Zulu and gone. Big change. But one thing that hasn't changed is if you go back to 12Z, yesterday for that matter, look out in the Caribbean. Bam. Low pressure right there. Big old low forming up. Then you come back to 0Z, same time. Look at that. Another big old low forming up, trying to work its way up towards Jamaica, Cayman Islands. So for who is in there right now, Aston, Jamaica could become target from Tropical Depression 22 or a hurricane. Yes. Not calling hurricane yet. I'm saying low pressure for now. And then at 12Z, it's still there. 12Z, it's still down there, same time, same place, forming up. Doesn't really go anywhere just yet because we have a big old area of high pressure all across to the north. But the UK model's been very consistent with spinning something up down there, and it's not the only one doing it. I just figured I'd start with the UK model because if Scrooge McDuck is joining us tonight, I haven't seen him pop in the chat just yet. We're both big fans of the UK, and I don't really use it enough on my channel. The UK model is a heck of a model in my opinion. The Euro also has Tammy. I mean, 12Z has it trying to make a push for Florida, but then it gets scooped by that frontal system and completely vaporized, absorbed up ahead. And then if you look down in the Caribbean, right around Halloween time, the Euro does try to spin a little something up, a much weaker resemblance of it down there. You still get a little bit of cyclonic turning in the winds. I'm looking right in through here, guys. It's very faint. Blink and you'll miss it on the Euro because of how weak of a depiction it is. Icon, I know Icon has it still there. Here's the Euro control model. If you go through time, you can see... Oh, no, excuse me. This is GFS Ensembles. Never mind. Let me go to our Icon model real quick. I see some of you guys sounding off, though. I'm going on Friday. Very good. Me and my dog going to get some candy. There we go. That's what it's all about. You know, even as an adult, I'm not going to lie. You know, I'm going to shoot straight with you guys, and I may be judged by people in the chat or future folks who tune in to watch after the live stream concludes, but I'm still about getting candy on Halloween. I'm not saying I'm going to go trick-or-treating, but, I mean, I could kill some candy on Halloween, especially some chocolate. You know, I'm not a big, candy, like hard candy, suckers, lollipops, jujubes, Jolly Ranchers, things like that. I'm definitely more of a chocolate kind of guy. I'm not sure if that resonates with anybody, but I'll admit I have some Halloween candy in the pantry here waiting for the kiddos for Halloween, and I definitely have eaten a lot more white chocolate Hershey's than I probably should have. I'm not afraid to admit it. It's the time of the year, and we have Thanksgiving next month. I'm not going to be afraid to air out what kind of foods we're eating and cooking, just like I know you guys are going to have a great time. Home Depot is pretty scary for me. Oh, Janice, you're going to have to tell me about that. Why is Home Depot scary for you? I can't say I've ever had a scary experience in Home Depot or Lowe's for that matter. I always wanted to dress up like Pennywise and hide in the trees. That'd be pretty cool. I used to go to Halloween Horror Nights when I was younger. Yeah, Halloween Horror Nights doesn't hit the same. I have a bunch of friends who are always at Halloween Horror Nights, and I don't know. I mean, some years they have some cool mazes, but it just doesn't, pull me in for all intents and purposes. How TD21 even a tropical depression? Event, it formed up and it got its act together. You could see a very pronounced low-level spin earlier today. I had the visible satellite in my video, and it was looking very tropical, stormy, tropical depression-ish, and we got the upgrade. It goes to show that sometimes making my videos so early in the day can zap me from getting some of the accurate information or the most up-to-date updates. It's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. My schedule forces me to make videos earlier in the afternoon and then post it around 6. The 5-day fright, while I scare easily. Carmen, I'm sorry. Are we finally... Oh, I missed it. Where did your message go? Are we finally going to get some rain in Central Florida? The Hive, it does not look like it, buddy. It honestly looks like we're going to go into a bit of a dry spell after that trough came through and with that subtropical ridge building in. Not only is it going to get hot again... That hurts me. I'm tired of the heat. Went to a pumpkin patch over the weekend, and frickin' I can't believe I was sweating. I pulled up, and I said to everybody, I'm like, you'd think you get out the car and you're gonna need a little hoodie, maybe a little beanie, embrace the fall atmosphere, but nope, not here in Florida. You got to get ready to take a shower as soon as you're out done walking at a pumpkin patch. GFS, Geps predict a tropical storm landfall for Jamaica. Yeah, but first of all, you said GFS. You led with the GFS. The GFS has been doing horrible, especially for the second half of hurricane season. And the Canadian ensembles have been firing stuff off down there for a long time. I mean, if you really think back, guys, the Canadian ensembles have been wanting something to form up out of there for, I want to say, almost 2-3 weeks now. Have we seen lows spin up? Yeah. Has it verified well? I mean, give or take. Today's 12Z didn't have anything spinning up down there to go with the ensembles. So I'm still in a holding pattern. I'm not going to go fully blasting it out. Once again, the Euro is acting very GFS-ish, and it's backed off on its probabilities. It got up there, and then all of a sudden, again, things changed today, and whoop, dropped back down. I felt, again, silly because I put in my video how our probabilities continue to go up, and then anybody with access to this website could very easily log in and be like, yeah, he has no idea what he's talking about because the European model likes to make a fool out of us. We'll take a look at that right now, as a matter of fact. 12 Zulu. So you go back to 0Z overnight last... Wow, I don't know why that keeps happening to me. Ever since I got sick, all of a sudden I get stuck. You look at overnight last night at 0Z, you could see a crazy amount of ensemble agreement. We were going to get a depression there. It hit it on the money, of course. And then after about the 5-day, 6-day mark, look at how our probabilities start going way up for not only something down here, but Tammy coming straight towards the Bahamas and Florida. And then at the 216, 240 hour mark, it goes down again. But then at the very end, look at that. We have all the way up to 35, 40% probability that something could develop. And then I was very disappointed how GFS-ish the Euro got for us at 12Z. Because then you look at 12Z and, it's kind of there, but they're all over the place now. Hold up. Was I looking at a different 12Z? Because I know this, I know this wasn't there. That's higher of Tammy coming towards Florida as a tropical depression. Maybe I need to do a fact check on my own research sometimes because this looks a little different than what I was seeing earlier. Maybe it just wasn't fully populated in. But you can see that the probabilities have dropped just a hair that we're going to see formation in the Caribbean, and it actually picked up a little bit of support for that wave coming in. That wasn't there at 0Z. I just noticed that. There's another little area of probabilities with that tropical wave that's out in the main development region coming in. So, there's still a little something out there, and with as hot as the Caribbean is, both literally and figuratively, anything's possible. But then, anyways, we'll go back to the icon model. We'll go down to 10-meter wind, and we'll take a look at the 12 Zulu so we can go at far out in time. And even, on the 12Z, you can see it right there. You see a pronounced low-level circulation lifting up towards Jamaica and then headed towards the Cayman Islands. I think it washed it at 18Z, though. Oh, no, never mind. 18Z still has it. 18Z still has it. My bad. Okay, now I'm starting to give you guys false information. You can definitely feel free to roast me in the chat if you want. But no, 18Z still has it. So, and then the reason I think that even the icon is going to have Tammy suddenly backpedal and move away is because notice how on those last few panels she goes stationary. And then that eye tries to lift towards Bermuda. So, and then we have this tropical wave right there, this low here. So the Caribbean might get a little exciting as we get close to Halloween. For our Halloween Eve Tropics talk, we might be talking about something forming up out there. The trailer for FNAF looks fun. It would be fun to see Corey Kenshin. Yeah, he's going to have a cameo in there. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm going to try to get candies. Even though I'm 19, I can't eat hard candy or chewy because of braces, but I will get to get chocolate. There you go. Buy it at CVS the day after, 50% off. Yes, Robert, see, that's the adult thing to do. And that's exactly what I intend to do. When it goes on sale, 50 to 75% off, heck yeah, I'm in there. I'll also start getting some decorations for next year and whatnot, too. Let's see. I missed a lot of chat. Let's see. Alex Baller, could Tammy still make a run for Florida? Yes, it can. It definitely can. I'm giving it a 15-20% chance that it does as of right now, to tell you the truth. Def with me, I love my Reese's. Yes, Reese's is another good one. Reese's, Kit Kats, Hershey's Kisses. I can go on. Twix. What else is there? I love caramellos, the chocolate, the milk chocolate with all the caramel goo on the inside. Delicious. I forget, there's another yellow gold package, T something. It's a chocolate that starts with T. You can find it off the shelves at most checkout aisles in the grocery store. Tuber, I forget the name of it, but that's another really good one. Nestle's Crunch, all that stuff. Florida ain't about that northern life. Nope. Do you know when it's going to get cold in Florida again? So it's going to be close to Halloween. That's the thing. Matthew, you brought it up at the right time, too. It's going to be very close to Halloween. I'll bring up the GFS real quick because I trust the GFS a little bit more over North America than I do over the tropics. And all of our 18Z models, by the way, guys, are doing funky things. If you watch the 18Z GFS even, you have low, 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 low everywhere in the Caribbean all of a sudden. There's like a whole armada of low pressures. But anyways, you skip through, and this is exactly why it's going to get hot for a while and why most of our models are thinking that system, Tammy, is not going to come back towards us, because a lot of our forecast models have taken this 1030 high, and instead of parking it just out in front of her, it looks like it's going to submerge itself over the southeast, and all we're going to see happen is all this warm air getting advected across the state of Florida like so. It's going to pick up the winds along the coastline very good, but it's going to feel like a blow dryer, unfortunately. I'm just kidding. No, it's not going to be that hot. We're not talking summertime, but it is going to be warm, all things considered. And then if you look on the GFS, the GFS is calling for just before Halloween. We'll start to see the front take shape and come down, and then it'll be through us fully. Actually, you know what? This model doesn't even have the front going all the way through us. What a shame. Yeah, this model doesn't even have the front going all the way through us anymore. I think 12Z did. 12Z had a bona fide front pushing through us. Yeah, kind of. But yeah, it's going to be just, at least according to the GFS, right after Halloween time is when we could possibly see another shot of cool air for us here in Florida. Euro is on the same page. It looks like the front is so... Man, you know what that means? Looking at this setup, the fact that we have a front just to our north before Halloween means it's going to be hot. Halloween is going to be warm. It's going to be muggy. And then right after that, as we ring in November and Thanksgiving time, that's when it could possibly cool back down again. You can see the Euro is really increasing precip and rain chances for the Central Caribbean. So that's an indication that the Euro is definitely trying to hint at something developing down there, or at least something moving through. What a bummer. That's a huge bummer. I don't like when it's hot for Halloween. It makes me miss Arizona. That's one thing I miss about being stationed out there. This time of the year, glorious. Up until about maybe April, May, sometimes even until June, you'll have wonderful weather. Wonderful weather. No rain, very cold at night, cool at night, very cool during the day, or if not, just right during the day. And if you didn't like what it felt like in town, just go up the mountains, 20, 25 degree temperature difference. Out here in Florida, nope, it's hot here, it's hot there, it's hot everywhere. And it's such a bummer. I like it hot. I know I'm going to hate for that. No, it's okay. Punny. But no, it's fine. Accidentally ate most of the Halloween candy. Guess the trick-or-treaters are getting granola bars. Jennifer, I felt that. I feel that one for sure. From Ohio originally, love me some Florida. I like hot when it's dry, and anything below 65, no thank you. Now, see, Ethan's life, I got to disagree with you there. Both me and my race car love it when it's cold out. I took it out this morning because it was a little cooler out, and that boost, that little Turbski, spooled up a lot quicker than it does when it's hot out. Even my car doesn't like heat. When it's hot out, you get all that heat soak in the engine bay, and it's just miserable. The car feels sluggish. You feel sluggish. I can't tell you how many Hondas I've owned that have overheated because of the heat outside and head gaskets, unfortunately. But that's a whole other story in itself. I'm from Ohio, too. I moved to Florida 9 years ago. Brooke, is it going to hit Florida? All Z. And, right now it doesn't look like it. Right now, I'm definitely not giving it a chance to come towards us. We'll definitely have to see, but, unless you're talking about that thing in the Caribbean, then up in the air. We don't even know if it's going to develop yet. We'll see, but to be determined. What about South Carolina with Tammy? Supercharged, it doesn't really look like she's going to make it to the southeast. It doesn't look like she's going to make it to the United States. Bermuda still may need to watch a little bit, but it doesn't really seem like we're at least I should say the chances of it making it to mainland U.S. are going down. Geps ensemble members from the Today 12Z has a serious landfall for Jamaica and Cayman Islands, especially Jamaica, migrate northward. It does, and I agree with you. I've been watching it day to day. Every 0 and 12Z run that I can, I've been looking at it. But, until I see something meshing with our operational models and the ensembles, then I'll start talking a little bit more about it. There it is. Thank you, Dark Earth. Toblerone, that's it, if that's how you say it. Toblerone. Those are delicious. I love those. Miss Leah, you got it too. Butterfinger's another good one for sure. I'm getting candy because I brought my dog a costume. There you go. Loopholes. Let's see. Twix is a good one. Let's see. Twizzlers, maniacal laughter. Yes, no, I can't do Twizzlers. Sorry, Ethan, I can't. Oh, M&M's. M&M's is another one. Got to give M&M's some appreciation. M&M's are fire. You put a bag of M&M's in front of me, and I'm going to destroy the whole thing. My grandfather on my mom's side is responsible for that. M&M's and Goldfish. Since I was small, M&M's and Goldfish are my favorite snacks. Just like popcorn with M&M's. It's going to be me with Five Nights at Freddy's later this week. I'm sorry to say that I'm sorry I said to that Brooke. Oh, Brooke, I think Daniel is apologize. Yeah, there we go. Apology, except we all have our bad days. Definitely. Mike, I was hoping Mike was still in the chat. Yeah, big turb skis. I got to go bigger on that car, too, and get it tuned for E85. I found out I live not only from one, but two different stations within 15 minutes of me that have E85 on tap. So I'm missing an opportunity to make 400 of the wheels on that car easy, especially since I just recently found a tuner that actually does a lot of work on the Evo 10 platform. I need to get it over there ASAP. So Lord willing, YouTube will take off and I can fund YouTube with YouTube money, and then my regular paycheck I can go back to building the race car. I'm just kidding. With all this wind shear in the Gulf, it's going to be hard for a system to get better organized. Yeah, exactly, Griffin. I don't think the Gulf's not going to be a source region for us right now. Not right now. Not with that El Nino subtropical jet moving through there. But because of the jet being over the southeast, it's leaving the Caribbean completely open for business. That's why we have TD21 out there, and I could imagine that we could see one more if those vigorous waves get in there, if we get something spinning off of Central America. I'm happy with Hershey bars. Now, Janice, are we talking any Hershey bar, or do you have a particular favorite? Because for me, I got to go white chocolate. The cookies and cream is like my number one. And then just below that, because I still have a lot of love for them, is the good old-fashioned milk chocolate. And then it has to be Ghirardelli dark chocolate if I really want dark chocolate. So Ghirardelli, which makes me remember I have to go to Disney Springs and do another run for Ghirardelli hot chocolate whenever it does decide to cool down again. I like how the whole chat is off topic. We decided for Halloween in the week. Yeah, but that's Tropics talk for you. I mean, we're talking Tropics and having a conversation, and this is what it's all about. I like this. It might not look too good for folks, peering in, trying to get some information, but right now there's not a whole lot happening, so it's not like we can really obsess over anything just yet. But that's what I want to do with these conversations year round. Like whether we're talking, I don't know why I almost had an aneurysm right there. Whether we're talking tropics or talking winter time, El Nino, or looking at other things for that matter, we got to keep a fine mix of weather and camaraderie in here, because that's how everybody just builds the community. If you guys just sat in there for an hour listening to me talk and talk and talk, I'd have like 5 people watching, unless you find me that entertaining for me to talk about divergence aloft ahead of a major shortwave trough and convergence behind an upper level ridge with, no, I'm not going to sit there, rattling off jargon the entire time. I'm sorry, but I don't like Five Nights at Freddy's. That's okay, Daniel. It's not everybody's cup of tea. I know a lot of people who don't like Michael Myers, and I'm like an obsessed fan at this point. It is. Yes, it is. And it's the more reliable fuel source, Mike. I should know I have the best taste in the world. What about Skimmers? Skimmers, are we still talking? Oh, Snickers. There we go. I see your second comment. I was like, Skimmers, I've never heard of that. Is that a weather term? Are we talking about like low pressures shooting through like the Alberta Clippers? Do we have like Gulf Coast Skimmers? We can coin that. We can make it a thing. We have our Alberta Clippers on the Canadian border, and then we have the Gulf of Mexico Skimmers during El Nino. Copyright that before somebody copies us. They've been on a roll with that lately. Janice, I saw you retracted your message, but white chocolate, I love it, I approve, and milk chocolate, double approval. As Angry Joe Show, seal of approval right there. I love that pumpkin punch you guys drink during Halloween time. We don't have that here in the Caribbean. Pumpkin punch. Are you talking like the pumpkin spice, or... Because I don't know of a pumpkin juice that we drink. I've never had that. Dress up as Hurricane Ian for Halloween. I'm going to quit the live stream now since you said... I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. But not going to dress up as Hurricane Ian. That's... I'll stay with my shape costume one more time this year. I'm sorry I didn't like Five Nights at Freddy's. That's fine. Please, is there still a chance? No, there's really not a big chance right now. We'll continue to watch, but I don't think there's a high chance anymore. Not too much. We'll continue to see, because with the way the models have been back and forth with that thing, it's a matter of, waiting to see at this point. But at least is where we stand right now. To answer your question as well, Jess got Disney. It doesn't look like Tammy's coming to Florida. Earlier this morning, if you'd asked me the same question, I would have said there was a higher probability, but we've seen a really big shift in our model data throughout the afternoon and early evening hours of tonight. At the very tail end of this live stream, we'll take a look at our ensembles again, just for fun, because I know we always look at the 18Z as a way to wrap up the video. But as it stands right now, I don't really see... I'm giving like a 15-20% shot that it'll come towards Florida. I mistakenly said GPS instead of GFS. Punky the Mixed Dog, at this point, with what I've seen, especially during the most recent weeks of hurricane season, I'd probably trust your GPS more than the GFS. Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it. I like how people who are Christian are saying they won't watch Five Nights at Freddy's, but some of the other Christians are saying they've been waiting for the movie too long not to watch it. See, that's a whole other conversation I'm not going to get into, because... I get where you're coming from, but we're not going to go religion in the chat right now. We're going to stay out of that realm. Milk chocolate and white. Don't know why it was gone. I just accidentally clicked on it. Maybe it accidentally retracted it, but I did see it. So either way, double seal of approval. Very good. Definitely take advantage of the 50 to 75% off sales when it's all said and done with. Shoot, I'll even buy you a bag. Jess, I just mentioned, I'm not sure if I'm reading the same question again, but right now it does not look like it's coming for Florida. I don't think it'll even make it to the southeast at this point from what I'm seeing. High pressure in the ridge aloft is going to open up and give way to another trough axis. It's going to finally finish the job of sucking her up and out of the central and western Atlantic. No, no one's dressing up as Halloweens. What? No one's dressing up as hurricanes for Halloween. The temperatures now through November 2nd, 2023 models. For us down here in Florida, it's going to be warm, unfortunately. It's going to be warm. Could Tammy come to North Carolina because the NHC shows is shifting closer to here? Big brain boy, it does, but, I mean, looking at all the most recent data, I don't foresee it headed out there. These are our ensembles from earlier today, and you can see quite a bit of consistency still that Florida is under the gun for something, but this was earlier in the day. This was 12Z. So I don't know. We'll have to see what 0Z shows, and we'll have to see if any kind of big trends and differences come through. But as of right now, it definitely doesn't seem like we're going to have anything down here. Nazario, do you do decorations for the holidays? Absolutely. I'm still working on my collection, but absolutely. If I had it my way and I had enough decorations, for Halloween, for example, I would love to be that person who opens the door to the kiddos on Halloween and have lights and a fog machine and a spooky, eerie Halloween soundtrack music playing throughout the house, and the kids have to come in because we have a long walkway. The house has a long walkway from the front door to the living room, and I think it'd be perfect to have a jump scare over here in the adjacent hallway and then have a jump scare out in the living room with a big old pot of candy or whatever sitting there for the kids to try to grab and go, run before Michael Myers shows up. That would be amazing. I'd love to do that, but probably not going to happen this year. Too much prep and too little time since we're already a week away, basically. I'll be back. I have to go take my pills. All right, Daniel, we'll see you soon. Weather report, it's raining here in Jupiter. I peeked outside, very humid. I'm surprised it's raining out there. Is there something that I missed? Because there's definitely no rain really in the forecast for us. And on satellite, we look bone dry out there in Florida. So I'm surprised. Is there a little something on the satellite? No, I don't. I mean, there's a little tiny fragment of something looks like pushing in down there, but that's about it. Here in St. Pete, welcome in. Don't believe the hype. Great song, LMAO. You are my fire. You don't have to answer this question, but what was the worst hurricane you've experienced? Oh, that's an easy one for me. Hurricane Charlie. Hands down. Hurricane Charlie. The one that revolutionized my love and my passion for talking weather and looking at the weather. Hurricane Charlie, very easy. For me anyways, guys, I'm not saying that was the worst. I'm saying for me specifically, when I was 13 years old, Hurricane Charlie wiped out power and a lot of other things in the Kissimmee area. In 2004, we were without power for about a week. And people started to turn into savages. I remember there was one time, and I'm going to air this out in the chat. Please don't judge me, but it definitely turned into a situation to where we had no power or water for going on 5 days. So people were breaking into the fire hydrants and the other water systems in our apartment complex. And as a result, what water we had left was being depleted because people were running around dancing in it. And it got to the point where my family and I had to square up on another family with a baseball bat and a butcher's knife because we were about to go head to head. Emergency services were still not able to make it to our area because too many power lines, too much damage in the roads. So we were still without power, without utilities, without rescue, without any kind of emergency services. So that's the real scary part. Truthfully, you don't hear that very often. People will talk and hype the weather itself, but when it gets scary is when people start turning on each other. You know, unfortunately, the nature of the beast is with bad weather or natural disasters, you name it, it doesn't always bring everybody together. In a perfect world, you know, catastrophe usually brings out the best in people, but on the same token, like clockwork, because humans will be humans, natural disasters and catastrophes also bring out the worst in people. especially when you have no one else from the outside world who can come in and help you. And I think that's something we should start advertising, especially in the weather community, a lot more, that it's not only when the storm is hitting that you need to be careful, but you also need to be careful well after the fact, because anything can happen. And that's a true story. My dad had to talk me down. As a little 13-year-old boy, I was ready to square up on an older gentleman because he wanted to fight my dad alongside other people in his family. We're trying to jump bad with my mom and dad, to where I came out there locked and loaded, not with a gun, but, I was ready. I was not pulling any punches, and that was scary because we were desperate. No one had any water. No one had any food. No power. No one. Nothing. No relief. No FEMA either. There was no FEMA, no Red Cross. Nothing was happening. Everything was stagnant in Central Florida after Hurricane Charlie. And that was Central Florida, guys. So it goes to show it takes a bad enough hurricane moves through, you're going to feel it no matter how far inland you are, especially in the state of Florida. And that's all I'll say about that. That's a whole other story I can unveil at another time. But to answer your question, after all that, Hurricane Charlie, worst for me. I agree with you, Dark Earth. Humans are scary. Sorry I'm late. Been working the last few nights. I also got unsubscribed from you. Sorry if you had enough of my questions. No, not at all. I don't mean any disrespect to anyone if I said or asked anything wrong. Never at all. No, Thomas. There's no such thing as a bad or a disrespectful question unless you actually intentionally make it disrespectful or ridiculous. And I'm sorry to hear that for some reason YouTube scrubbed you off my channel. I really don't know where that came from. It started happening on Saturday and into Sunday. I was losing over 100, 200 subscribers out of nowhere. What do you think changed that made the chances of Tammy turning toward the west go down? The positioning of the high pressure. So if you look, even on satellite right now, you can see that this is all high pressure coming in behind our frontal system, evacuating off to the north and east, and then we have a ridge building up down here. So what's going to happen is with that ridge building just upstream, it's going to also help the ridge downstream start to build up a little bit further. And as a result, we're going to have high pressure sink down on either side of it and nestle in a little bit further to the south. And that's why instead of it parking right over top of where Tammy's trying to move, some of the models are thinking it's going to migrate a little bit more to the west-southwest and give her just enough space to shoot up with all this other cloud feature that you can see in through here. Still up in the air. You never know. We'll see. Things can definitely change. But for now, we're in between. We're very in between. For me, it was George in Puerto Rico. Spent almost a month without power. Almost a month. Wow. And you know what, Janice? No one has really mentioned George. I got to look him up. That sounds weird. It sounds like I'm going to hit him up. I got to look him up and send him a message. No, I got to look George up. Because everyone always mentions Maria, Irma. And, you don't really hear about Hurricane George very much. That sounds terrible. I just checked the weather radar. Only rain in the whole state right now in Jupiter. Aren't we special? Yeah, you guys have a special occasion going on down there. We didn't have power for 9 days after Ian, and National Guard had us under curfew, and there's a makeshift tent hospital in the sea. Yeah, Brooke, you know it. You've been there, done that. War zone, Pine Island. Wow. See, that's terrible. Welcome back, Daniel. Alicia, good night. Good to have you in here. Forget about it. Did anyone tell you sound like Ben Stiller? One other person has told me that. And now I'm beginning to think that there might be a trend going on here. When can Florida see a big cold front? It's looking like just after Halloween, Matthew. As of right now, it looks like just after Halloween. Oh, there we go. Okay. Was it George or was it Georges? Because I do remember Georges now. That sounds a lot more familiar. No Math, Rena Pizer, however you say that. Sorry if I butchered that. I'm in South Sarasota County, about 25 minutes north of Charlotte Harbor, so you were in the worst of the storm, basically. With the stream being chill today, talking about fun stuff, would you do like a Q&A live stream for maybe 10,000 subs? What do you mean, Doff Boy? A Q&A live stream for 10,000? You mean like to ring in 10,000 subs? Do just a full-on Q&A? Break that down to me, because I'm very open to ideas. Absolutely. I definitely want to continue to revolutionize this channel if the Lord is willing to bless us with a growing community. I truthfully didn't even think I was going to see 5,000 subscribers. I really didn't. So, knock on wood, praise God, we just continue the forward momentum. Hurricane Georges affected Puerto Rico as a Category 3 hurricane during 1998. That sounds very familiar, extremely familiar. Because I know 98 and 99, there were a lot of bad storms down there. They're probably right, Janice. Georges sounds a lot more familiar. So you got bad too. Is November going to be active? Right now, truthfully, it doesn't seem like it's going to be like active. Now, again, that's a matter of perspective, because one could say it's active in relation to the time of the year. Technically speaking, having a hurricane, or let alone a few different tropical features that we're tracking, you could technically say that's active for the month of November. In comparison to, say, September, that's normal. September, we're used to having a whole bunch of things out there flying around everywhere. In November, to have tropical waves and highlighted areas, that could be considered active. So I guess it's a matter of how you look at it. Oops. Can I get a label for the X and T axes? Please, I'm unfamiliar. Which X and T axes do you mean? Is this something I have drawn on the screen, or are you talking about lat long? Wasn't living in PR for Maria. That's good then, honestly. I also experienced Hurricane Luis back in 1995. It lasted very long. The island was a complete mess after that. Hurricane David, Dominica, 1979. I was 7 years, still have PTSD. This is due to we were not prepared. I saw my parents got hurt from wind pushing the front door. Wow. See, that puts it into perspective. It's all a matter of perspective, really. That's why sometimes, and I don't want to sound like I'm on a high horse, guys. I really don't. But like, for example, with Tropical Depression 21, hence the title, Tropical Depression. Like, if it's a tropical depression, I'm not going to be sitting here on a YouTube video telling you guys, prepare, look out. I'm not going to be doing that. It's a tropical depression, guys. If you can't, I might take flack for this. I might get shot for saying this, but like, if you can't handle a little rain, then that's all I'm going to say. But a tropical depression versus a Hurricane Georges or a Hurricane Maria, a Hurricane Irma, you got to pick and choose your battles. If you're going to hype something, you got to give something else a little bit more, of what's the word? Like, you got to reload. You got to reload the hype, if you will. The chart itself, X and Y, not T. Okay, so the Y-axes here would be your latitude lines right through there. There's your Y-axes, and then your X-axes here would be your longitude, technically. I mean, if you're looking at these here, these lines, these are your longitude lines. And then going west to east, these are your latitude lines. So you have your Y-axis like this, and then your X-axes. Or, I mean, if you want to flip them, if it's easier to remember, then you can. Like a Q&A live stream that isn't about weather and more about other topics, like a chance for us to learn more about you or some nice life stories if you're willing. Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely be willing, Doff Boy. The only thing that I think about that, the only qualm I have, and maybe I genuinely am being way too modest right now, but it just depends if people are interested. It really does. Because, I mean, I'd love to get to know you guys more, and I'd love to get you, start telling you stories about, like, Air Force weather, deployments, other weather experiences, where weather for me came from, other stories about weather, stories about me in general. Like, I'd really like that. I love the camaraderie with everybody. It's just a matter of if people are interested. Because I don't want to waste anybody's time, and just because my subscriber base is growing, making it seem more like I'm this big shot influencer as opposed to a weather forecaster. Because at the end of the day, the whole premise of this channel is just to provide you guys with as sound and realistic weather content as possible. If you guys would love to learn more about the man in front of the camera, I'm absolutely here for it. It's just, again, like, I don't want to turn people off. And I think just the other day, as a matter of fact, I was doing the live stream and I just briefly touched on the fact that my subscribers were getting removed, like getting erased. It wasn't like people were unsubscribing. Something really weird was happening with YouTube, and somebody actually said, dude, stop talking about yourself. And I'm like, I'm not talking about myself. I'm just mentioning that my subscribers are being forcibly removed. And that's people missing out on weather information, especially during Hurricane Tammy moving through the Antilles. Shout out to my boy Noah. He loves the weather. Very good. Shout out to Noah. Loving the weather. Noah, welcome in. Loving the weather, digging the weather, having a good time. Let's see what else we have in here. My power magically only went out for 14 hours during Ian. That's good. That's very good in my opinion. Ethan's life, I'd be down for a Q&A thing. Yeah, we could set it up, guys. I mean, we could make it a very intimate thing too. Like maybe have some way I could facilitate on my channel, a way for people to sign up for it. Obviously, I'm not talking like I'm going to charge or have tickets for it, but, you know, like people who want to join, I'll get a tally and like a poll or something. This way I know who to expect, as opposed to starting a live stream like our Tropics talks and then having people tune in like, what is going on? Why are we talking about him and not about the weather, you know? Hurricane Georges was a monster back in 98 when it gave St. Kitts and Nevis a direct hit. I was young, probably 5 years old. That hurricane piqued my interest in hurricanes. Very good. In that case, we weren't that far apart then, Mr. Watson. If you were 5 in 98, I believe I was 5 as well. 5 because I was born February 1st, 94. I would have definitely turned 5 that year. So, yeah, look at that. That'd be nice to see a vlog. I mean, yeah, I would not be opposed to it. I've been floating around the idea, as a matter of fact, of trying to do like a day in the life of video as my subscribers go up. And when I say a day in the life of, I'm not saying, you know, wake up, guys, I'm going to the gym, here's my workout, you know, not like that. I mean, like, breaking down the process. Like, this is a day in the life of Weather Center. I sit down, this is what I look at first, this is what I take a look at, this is what I come up with, these are my theories, this is where I note take, and all that stuff. You know, just something like that is something I've been floating around in my mind. What's all the stuff flying off Tammy at the top? Is that wind shear, or is it thunderstorms only just joined? So that's going to be both. That's also outflow from Tammy, but that's also wind shear coming in from that frontal system that you can see right in through here. I mean, it's a little hard, but you have a deep trough axis digging into the south and east, and as such, you have all this breakaway energy from both Tammy and our low pressure that's dragging the cold air and the high pressure off the coastline. So very good level of shear out there. That's also a reason why National Hurricane Center thinks she's going to go post-tropical and wash out pretty quickly. As a kid, I always thought hurricanes were weaker than tornadoes, but learned real fast. So you know what? Hurricanes are indeed weaker than tornadoes, but at the end of the day, it also depends on the intensity of the tornado and or the intensity of the hurricane, because you could very quickly get into F2, F3 territory with the equivalent of a Category 4, Category 5 hurricane, just to put it into perspective. F2, F3 is going to produce the same type of damage as a Cat 5 hurricane would, just in a very, very localized scale, obviously, because it's, you know, it's a very small rotating funnel. You were all babies, Brooke. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I had my first child at the age of 21 in 99. Okay. I can dig it. I also want to give all my love and support for the people of Bermuda after hearing Tammy had a direct hit. Hope all is good as it can be for them. Amen. I say to that, Thomas. Thank you for your positive support. I was 10 years old on 1998. Minus 10 years old. Okay, I almost read that as you were 10. I was going to say, Ethan, you're a lot older than I thought you were. I found your videos when Adalia formed, but never really commented on your videos or lives until now. Well, thanks for tuning in and chiming in for that. It's always good to start conversation. Isn't the dangerous part of a hurricane the storm surge? The most dangerous part of the hurricane is typically the storm surge and or just the overall water with hurricanes. You don't really see too many wind-induced deaths or wind deaths, or I should say deaths caused by wind and damage. Most of it is really the water, the flooding, the storm surge. So you're definitely right. That's the big difference as well. Uh-oh, lost my audio. I still see it coming in. I thought maybe my microphone had shut down. I don't see anything happening on my end. Seems like everything's okay. My stream is still running all right. It says I have excellent connection. My mic is still picking up audio. Brooke, let me know if it comes back in. Yeah, Daniel, absolutely. Go ahead. Head on out. We don't really have too much else to discuss right now. Honestly, this is a very casual live stream. We've already covered pretty much everything, and we're already coming up on the hour mark as well. It's going to be 9 o'clock already. We blew through this live stream, and it really doesn't seem like we covered much of anything. Let's go ahead and start wrapping up. We're going to go over to the GFS 18Z ensembles and see what we got. Let's see. Cyclone locations, GEFS. is 18Z is all the way in. All right. So, party like it's 1999. I remember those days. I was too young to party. I feel that. Anything headed towards Florida? Ramish, not right now. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And I'm honestly really, really losing a lot of confidence in Tammy headed this way as well. We went from, if you'd asked me this morning what Tammy was doing, I would have given her about a 65-ish% chance coming to Florida as something. As of tonight, though, I'm going way down to maybe like 15%. 15% chance we'll see her come this way. I hear you good. I don't have any problems. Okay, Brooke, I'm sorry that the audio's going in and out on your side. I'm not too sure what's going on there. Is it in the Caribbean to hit Dominica? Nothing's in the Caribbean right now, no. And there's a tropical wave behind you guys, Irving, that we're tracking, but nothing imminent as of right now. My cane count is legendary. I've been through 5 canes. I like raisin canes. I love raisin canes. Totally off topic. But all right, guys, here we go. 18Z ensembles. Let's see what tomfoolery the GFS has for us. A lot of tomfoolery. A lot of tomfoolery, actually. So, yeah, even the GFS, if you look, we only have literally 2 members now that hit us. If you go back to last night's 0Z, look at how many more members we had through Florida. Look at that. All the members down there. But then you look at 18 Zulu, we have only 2 members now that come toward Florida. So whatever, something's happening out there, and maybe we'll get a little more light shed on it at 0Z when all of our new models come in, as opposed to the intermittent 18Z with some of them. GFS is also doing something funky down there in the Caribbean too. It has it forming up and headed east at first. I'm not too sure what's going on there. GFS wants it to miss Jamaica and the Cayman Islands altogether and move through Dominican Republic, Cuba, and then head back towards us. And then there's another system that it tries to generate in the ensembles, or I should say has some agreement for it moving west from Jamaica through a bit of the Cayman Islands, Cuba, and then back towards Florida. So, I mean, for those of you out there watching out for Florida, there's still a little bit of, agreement, albeit I know this is 18Z, so don't really put a whole lot of faith and confidence in this. But yeah, Ethan, I agree. I say the same thing. What the heck? Because now you have ensembles with Tammy going like this, woo, and then leaving. Like, I can't. I definitely, you know what? 33 years old and 98 was a bad experience. Wow. Tammy may head this way. We need rain. Drought is terrible. It is. It's getting worse. It's definitely getting worse, unfortunately. And from what I've seen, to tell you the truth, I am not pulling for rain anytime soon, sadly. At least another 5-7 days before maybe we get a shot at rain. Hopefully that changes, but right now there's just too much of a blocking ridge to our west, stopping any kind of moisture influx from coming our way. Louisiana mass casualty pileup on Interstate 55. What a shame. Wow. What a big shame. Well, on that note, guys, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping up the stream. I know for those of you watching post-stream, the 0Z track guidance shifted south and west. Did it? Let's go back over there because I know we do have the track guidance there. I know for those of you tuning in a little late to the party, if you guys didn't get to catch the stream live, I know that we were definitely very off topic tonight, and I do sincerely apologize for that. I've had a few folks out there mention that the commentary should go down to a minimum, and we should talk more about the weather itself. But you know what, folks? With all due respect, and I mean this in the most kindest of ways, when there really isn't much to talk about, I'm not going to leave the viewers hanging. I would like to still have conversation, talk weather when we can, and emphasize what needs to be emphasized, but also still open up the floor for a good old conversation. Yeah, actually, that's weird. A lot of them, a few of the different models are picking up what that GFS said, going this way and then that way. What the heck? Like, why? You know, I. All right, then. Looks like we're still expecting that maybe we'll see a small piece of strengthening out of this storm over the next day or so. Small sliver of strengthening, maybe a little bit of deepening. As a matter of fact, I think it already has deepened. I think as of 8 o'clock or something like that, I noticed that the center is starting to deepen down again. I think it had increased or filled a little bit, and then now we're back down to 990. Let me see. Let's go to today at 5 p.m., 990, and then at 11 a.m. we had 993. Yeah, so she is strengthening. She's definitely strengthening right now. So we'll see what happens when we wake up tomorrow morning, or what happens at 11 o'clock if I'm still up by then. So much for El Nino, this La Nina again. Weather forecasters are drunk. I mean, it kind of looks like La Nina, but El Nino is definitely in effect out there. It's just we're in such a weird setup right now that nothing is behaving itself. Nothing is behaving itself. Okay, I feel dumb now. They got my car started and my phone Bluetooth to my stereo, so I lost audio. Good news, the car is running. That's great news. Weird news is that means this entire time whoever was in the car was listening to some random dude talking about weather and Halloween candy the entire time. The Korean model, good question. So the Korean model actually does also have something forming up in the Caribbean down the road. In terms of what it does with Tammy, though, it's one of the folks that definitely thinks she's going to go out to sea. You can see it makes a sudden shift to the west and then bam, off the chart. But then if you look down in the Caribbean, there goes our low pressure starting to move north and west. So the Korean model has something forming here and wandering its way up like this. So, you know, all of our models technically are thinking that something's going to come out of there. At least right now. We've seen so many flippin' changes that it's anybody's best guess. But as it stands tonight, all of our computer models are thinking that the Southern Caribbean needs to be monitored for development. And as we're seeing with TD21, it is definitely a favorable spot for development. Don't even have to look at the charts. Don't even look at the models. You know, it clearly we could get cyclogenesis down there. So that's the main area. That's what I'm calling the hot zone right now. That's the hot zone. Both literally because of the sea surface temps and the OHC, but then also figuratively because we already have something forming up and moving this way. So if we get something else down there, it's going to be off to the races very soon. It looks like in the grand scheme of things, though, all the rest of the tropics are quieting down. I haven't seen anything else on long-range models for a while. Nothing coming off of Africa. It looks like the monsoon maybe finally calming itself down. Either that or we're going to stop seeing the robust waves coming off there. So we can narrow down our focus a little bit and just watch what happens in the Caribbean. Not even the Gulf of Mexico, because the Gulf of Mexico is way too sheared with that subtropical jet. It's mainly right in through here. I'll draw it with my marker. Right in through there. That's the spot for tropical development. Here on out, anyways. Can you show us Tropical Storm Lola, South Pacific? Also, 8 years ago was Patricia in the East Pac, Super Cyclone, 215 mile an hour winds. Wow. Ethan's life, in terms of models populating, sometimes it's just latency with the computers. Sometimes they take a little while. Sometimes, because they're populating so much data, they just come in slow. We used to have that happen quite a bit with our Air Force model, the Galwim, which I do wish. I wish I was still active duty Air Force because I would show you guys the actual Air Force weather model that we have. And we could use that to look at what's happening over the United States and what's happening in the tropics as well. But unfortunately, I no longer have access to that because no security clearance, no access to Air Force weather network, AFWebs as we used to call it. So unfortunately, we're stuck with what we got. But yeah, back when I was in Air Force weather, there were times where we'd have so much model data going out at the same time for all sorts of different parameters, different charts, different overlays, etc., that the computers will just get backed up and it'll take a while to actually get out to the internet. Helena, good night. Good night. What about the fat snowstorm coming? So we'll talk about that real briefly, very briefly, because I know it is out there. It's coming. It's coming our way. What is happening right now? It's like we've been talking so much about candy that I have an internal sugar rush going on right now. But yeah, there goes remnants of Norma cutting across the southern plains, interacting with our next system. That looks like it could be a ferocious line of severe weather for Oklahoma, Texas, moving into the Texarkana, Louisiana area, the Shreveport area, Louisiana. And then there's our next system moving through right there. That's another one. That's a potent one. There's the 528 line, so that's bona fide polar air. To tell you the truth, I don't know why. From what I remember, I see a lot of people mentioning that that's Arctic air coming down. And from what I recall, the 540 is your rain-snow differentiator when forecasting for rain or snow precip. And I remember the 528 line, I mean, maybe it is Arctic. I don't remember. I thought that there was a lower thickness for tracking true, definitive Arctic air. I thought that 528 thickness line was always still full-fledged polar air, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't think we can see isotherms all the way up into the upper levels of the atmosphere, because I know that we could find our minus 31 degree isotherm for the northern branch of the jet, and that'll tell us if it's actual Arctic air or not. But anyways, oh no, beautifully aged, no. Hurricane season, we still have another month and a week. Hurricane season wraps up at the end of November. But I would say you can safely take that down, because there's nothing out there that we're tracking that's going to come your way, anything even remotely like a Tammy or even a Philippe for that matter. So I would say you can very comfortably take that down. We got some tropical waves out there, but they're just going to be rainmakers. They're not going to be anything dangerous for you guys. Where they could get interesting is when they get into the Caribbean, if they do so. But all right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and start wrapping up the live stream. We're at an hour and 11 minutes. This thing went by fast. It doesn't feel like we've been talking for over an hour already, but it goes without saying. We had a much smaller view count tonight because there really wasn't a whole lot to talk about. It was anticipated. No harm, no foul there. But it was great getting to interact with all you guys. It was definitely way more casual than it typically is in here. And maybe, we'll see what happens over the next week. We might get a little more exciting, or false alarm. Honestly, we've had a lot of back and forth over the last few weeks. We had our Gulf of Mexico system that we nailed right in the head. That we nailed right in the head for the week of Friday the 13th. And then ever since then, we have Tammy out there, but there's also been a lot of little false alarms in what our models have been depicting, especially the GFS continuously trying to spin up a hurricane out of the Caribbean. So good to be subscribed again. Good night. God bless. Signing out for now. Thank you, Nazario Thomas. Have a great night. There's always above average weather before a major cold front. There is, and that's because of the ridge trough pattern. So we're definitely going to get some very bona fide cold air coming in soon. It's just a matter of if it's going to make it all the way down to us. Some of the models think it's going to stall, if not just barely squeak through the southeast into the Gulf. So we'll see. There's definitely lots of areas to keep an eye on, though. I'm not saying that there's nothing happening and there's nothing to talk about. There's still definitely a lot to look at and a lot to investigate, but for tonight's Tropics Talk, there's not a whole lot to dig into right now. We have so many things so long range that we're in full speculation and full forecast mode, just kind of determining what it is that we really need to pay close attention to. So thank you all so very much for joining me for tonight's Tropics Talk. It's been an absolute joy talking Halloween candy, worst hurricanes, potential future ideas for the channel, as well as a little bit of the weather activity we have going on both over the United States and out in the Caribbean. So we'll see you again tomorrow for our 6 p.m. Tropics Talk. Not Tropics Talk. Whoops. We'll see you again tomorrow for our 6 p.m. full-fledged Weather Center segment, next full video. And then on Wednesday, we'll be back to do it again. We'll talk more tropics at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, and then we'll have our next full Weather Center segment at 6 p.m. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. And again, thank you very much for taking time out of your lovely evening to spend some time with me here in the Tropics Talk. It's always a glorious time. Great getting to interact with everybody, and I genuinely mean that. So we'll see you again soon. We'll see you tomorrow for that matter. If you guys have any additional questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below or reach out to me on my Instagram. I'm always happy to interact with everybody out there, and I'll never leave you hanging. I can guarantee that. Might take me a little bit, but I'll always get back to you one way or another. So guys, it goes without saying, we'll see you soon. This is Weather Center Nazario, signing out.